Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saguna Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saguna Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchkalpatarubhayascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you very much for joining together in this weekly Sangha. So I see that I am the only one on video, but there are 12 other participants. So I guess I'm curious where the other 12 are.
Yeah,
How come I don't see you?
You see me now.
Okay. Hi, Bo. Shouldn't you be in bed, Somo?
No. I'm hoping I won't be in bed. I took a vitamin I, which is ibuprofen, so I'm hoping that tied me over.
Oh, I thought the vitamin I was that even I'm a human being. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Haribol, Shivani. 8. So we have 5 people who are missed. There is no way I can see who's who, right?
Sunil Prabhu is not there. Sunil Prabhu and
Prabhu, you have to scroll to the right on the top bar. You see Priya is there, Bunny is there.
Hello, Priya. Okay. Now it feels like we have an armored family. Haribol, Lalita. Your husband has you on mute, so I can't hear what you're saying.
okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
How are you? Fully recovered?
No Prabhu, I'm having fever, I'm sick.
Oh wow. I hope it's just a common cold.
Yeah, I think
We
so.
hope so.
Okay. Thank you for being here. So with the upcoming Ramnavmi, so what I thought was maybe we can for this class and subsequent classes we can do a little bit of Ram Katha, talk about Lord Ram and his pastimes.
Yes.
That should be okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so I wanted to start with the appearance of Ramayana.
Prabhu, one question. Can I share this link with our group here?
Yes, Prabhu, of course.
Okay, I will do that.
So we'll start with the appearance of Ramayana, and even before the appearance. So in the order of time, Ramayana appeared a little bit before the appearance of Lord Ram. So Valmiki, he actually recorded the pastimes of Lord Ram even before Lord Ram appeared, because Brahma gave him the benediction of being Trikalagya, of being able to see. And even before Ramayana appeared, the pastime begins in Golok Vrindavan. So once Srimati Radharani, she sees that Krishna is smiling in a very sweet way. And Radharani asked him, "What is it? What are you thinking about?" So Krishna said that it's time for me to soon go down to the Bhumandal in one of my sweetest pastimes. So Radharani said, "Show me that form." And at that point, Krishna, he manifested himself as Lord Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughan. And when Radharani saw Lord Ram, she was completely captivated by his beauty. So it so happened that Narad Muni was also there, passing by at the time, and he also was able to witness the sweet form of Lord Ram. So he immediately went to his father Brahma, and he said that I witnessed this form of Krishna, which is so sweet, so enchanting. And then he describes that his color was like that of a fresh blade of grass, and his eyes were like lotus, and his smile was so enchanting. And then Brahma said that even I don't know the details of this. So together they go to Lord Shiva, and there both Brahma and Narad, they place the question over there. So Lord Shiva, then he smiles and he says that we are very fortunate because we are going to be witnessing one of the most nectarian pastimes of our Lord. And then he tells them in brief about the incarnation of Krishna as Ram. So Lord Shiv tells Narad that there is one thing very special about this incarnation, which is that his name will be actually more powerful than him. And then Narad Muni said, that's not possible. And Lord Shiva said, yes, you accept it based on my authority. So Narad says, okay, I accept it. And of course, Narad being Narad, he does not accept it. So he goes and he says that let me test the veracity of the statement of Mahadev. And he says, Mahadev, sometimes, most of the time he's pretty much there, but sometimes he goes into his own trances of ecstasy and he says stuff. So maybe he was just making fun of me. So he goes down, he comes down to the Bhumandal, and he goes into the deep jungle, and he starts looking for one of the most sinful people that he can find. So his eyes fall on a dacoit by the name of Ratnakar Dayasu. So the dacoit was so sinful that his main occupation was to steal from holy people. So he used to live in a forest, and most of the people who live in the forest were either dacoits like him, or they were the sadhus. So he would pick on the sadhus because they were easy to steal. And even though they didn't have much, whatever they had, they would steal from them. So Narad went, and he went there, and he was walking in a way that his path intersected with that of Ratnakar. And as expected, Ratnakar pulls out his dagger, and he holds it at the throat of Narad, and he says, "Whatever you have, give it to me." Narad says, "I have nothing." And he says, "Give me your clothes." And Narad says, "Be reasonable. What will you do with my clothes?" And he says, "I need something. I have to feed my family." So Narad said that all this that you're doing is for your family. Do you realize that you're committing sinful activities? So Ratnakar said, "What can I do? I have to support my family. So whatever activities that I do is not just for myself, but for my wife and children." So Narad said, that means that the sin that you're incurring because of these activities will also be shared with your family? So he said, "Yes, of course, we are all in this together." He said, so I said, "Why don't you go and check with them?" So Ratnakar said, you look like you're a straightforward sadhu, but you're being very clever. You're asking me to go, and when I go, you'll run away. So Narad said, "No, you tie me to a tree. That way, you can be sure I'll be there when you come back." So Narad said, "Okay." So he ties Narad Muni firmly to a tree, and then he goes back. And then he asks his wife that in order to support this family, I'm doing so many sinful things. You know, you're aware of them. But are you going to share the sin that I'm incurring? And the wife said, "No, because I'm not asking you to do this sinful activities. As a husband, it's your duty to support the family. If you were doing pious activities, I would be equally happy to support you." And in the Vedas also it is said that a wife, she only gets a share of the husband's pious activities. She does not get a share of the husband's impious activities. And for the husband, it's the other way around. That the husband only gets a share of the wife's impious activities, not of the pious activities. So Ratnakar is upset now. He asks his son the same question, and the son gives the same answer. That there is no reason for me to accept any part of the sinful reactions. So Ratnakar he's pretty distraught by now. So he goes back, and Narad Muni is patiently waiting for him tied to the tree. So he unties him and he says that it seems that everything that I am doing is just Srila Prabhupada liked this word a lot, a phantasmagoria. So phantasmagoria is something that is a fantasy in a fantasy. So he says, I was doing things with a certain conception, but actually it's completely the opposite. So Narad Muni says, don't worry, it's not too late. You can still redeem yourself. And he says, how? So this is what Narad Muni wanted. He wanted to test the potency of the word Ram. So he says, all you have to do is to chant Ram. And by that, all your sins will be washed away. So Ratnakar said, that's it? That's all that I have to do? And he said, yes.
Mara. He tells him to chant Mara.
Right, I'm getting to it. So he said, yeah, all that you have to do is to chant Ram. So Valmiki said, okay, that's not too difficult. So then he sits down and tries to chant Ram. But he's not able to do that. So sometimes we take the chanting of the holy name very casually. But actually, one can only chant the holy name if one has performed all kinds of pious activities, has given charity, has visited the holy places, has worshipped the demigods. All kinds of pious activities, they give one the qualification to chant the holy name. We empirically also we can see that so many times you ask people to chant and some of them say, I can't chant. I just can't chant. I can do everything else, but I cannot chant. Srila Prabhupada had a disciple early days in the 60s, and he couldn't chant. So he once went to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, you say that all the limbs of devotional service are the same. So I'm willing to clean the temple, I'm willing to clean the bathrooms, I'm willing to cook, but I can't chant. And Prabhupada said that, he explained the philosophy to him, and the disciple kept debating with Prabhupada. That, but isn't everything the same? That so he obviously knew a little bit of the philosophy. He said, Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandan. So I may not be doing Kirtan, but I am doing Shravan, and I am doing Pada Sevan. And then finally Prabhupada said that the reason that you should chant is because I am asking you to do it. So that's the reason we chant, because it's coming in the disciplic succession. And when we are asked to chant, we are also empowered to chant. Both of them come together. When the spiritual master says that you will chant 16 rounds, he is not just saying that you will chant 16 rounds, he is empowering the disciple to chant 16 rounds. And so many devotees have seen that experience, that before initiation they had difficulties maintaining their count. After initiation, it becomes just very, very natural and organic. Why? Because the Guru Kripa is there. So Narad Muni, of course, at this point, he still wants to test the potency of the holy name. So he tells Ratnakar that you can chant Mara. He said, yeah, I can chant Mara. Because he was used to killing people and animals. So he said, yeah, I can chant Mara. So he said, you sit and chant Mara. And he said, are you sure that will work? He said, yes, that will work. And of course, Narad Muni being an expert preacher, he, by trickery, he got Ratnakar to chant. So when you say Maram, Maram, Ram, it becomes Ram, Ram, Ram. So Ratnakar, he sat down and he began to chant. And he said, Mara, Mara. After that, he started chanting Ram, 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 Ram. And he became so absorbed in chanting that he completely lost track of time. And he continued to chant for how long? He continued to chant for 60,000 years. So while he was chanting, sitting in one place, completely absorbed in chanting, termites, they built their termite mounds around his body. So Narad Muni came back to check on what happened to Ratnakar. And he went to the place where he had left him, and all he could hear was the chanting of Ram's name. And he saw that there was a large termite mound, and the name of Lord Ram was emanating from it. So with the water in his kamandlu, he sprinkled it, and then he dissolved the mound, and inside emerged Valmiki. So Valmiki emerged as a fully, completely self-realized soul. And because he emerged from a termite mound, so Valmiki is Sanskrit of termite. So he is called. So Narad Muni said that from now you will be called Valmiki. In one of the Upapurans, this is not in Ramayana, in one of the Upapurans it is mentioned that Ratnakar was actually a Brahmin. And as a boy, he was lost in the forest. And there was a small band of dacoits that took pity on him, and they kind of adopted him. So that is why he grew up to be a dacoit. So Valmiki in this new mood of being perfectly self-realized, he begins to live on the bank of the river Tamas, and he has an ashram, he has disciples, and Narad Muni of course goes back to Lord Shiv, and he says, I accept everything that you say as perfectly correct. That the potency of the Lord is far exceeded by the potency of the Lord's name. That it has transformed one as sinful as Ratnakar Dayasu into a Brahma Rishi with the level of realization of Valmiki. So Valmiki is living on the banks of this river in his ashram, and one day he is going with his disciple by the name of Sage Bhardwaj to take a bath in the river. And before taking a bath, he pauses for a while and he watches that there is a pair of Karanch birds. So Karanch birds, I have never seen one, but they are supposedly very beautiful, and they are also unique in a way that they pair up for life, the male and the female. So the Karanch birds were sitting on the branch, and they were the male was courting the female, making very pleasant sounds, and Valmiki and Bhardwaj were watching and appreciating it. And hidden in a tree close by was a hunter who basically subsisted on animals. So, taking an expert aim, the hunter, he kills the male Karanch bird. And the female, seeing her husband or the male bird fall dead, then she begins to lament. And lamenting, she falls down on the ground dead. So Valmiki, for a moment, he becomes very much touched by the agony of these birds. And then he turns to the hunter and he curses him. That these two birds that were together in Rasakrida, that means in the mating ritual, and for no reason, just to satisfy your tongue, you have killed one, thereby killing both of them. So may you never get any happiness. So the hunter, being cursed by Valmiki, he goes away. And after that, Valmiki, he begins to reflect on the curse that he uttered on the hunter. And he turns to Rishi Bhardwaj and he says, it's very strange that this curse that I spoke, it came in a poetic form. So it came as a recitation of 32 syllables and 2 stanzas and 4 quarters, and each quarter being 8 syllable. So later on, Valmiki, he goes back to his ashram, and it so happens that at that time his guru, his spiritual master Narad, comes, and Valmiki, he welcomes Narad, and it is customary that one is in the presence of somebody that is spiritually exalted to make spiritual inquiries. And Valmiki, being one who is himself exalted, he was asking questions for the welfare of everybody. So Valmiki asks Narad that is there anybody who represents a perfect man? Is there anybody who is perfect in all respects? Narad Muni said, yes, such a person is about to come, and that person is perfect in 16 qualities. He is Gauryavan, Viryavan, he is Satyavan, he is Charitravan, Vidyavan, Krodhjit. So in this way, he describes 16 qualities. Now, Narad Muni, he is an expert in preaching, so he does not talk about the divinity of Lord Ram. He does not say that Lord Vishnu will be displaying these 16 qualities. And the reason being that if you tell somebody that God is perfect, then that person will say, yes, of course, I know God is perfect. God has to be perfect. So that in itself is not personally inspiring, right? Because God is there and you are here. So never in your mind will you think that let me be like God. You say God is God, he has to be perfect. But if you say that this person who's just like you, who's a human being, born of parents, he's perfect, then people get inspired to follow. That's why when Krishna came as Ram, even to this day, he is more inspirational by his character, because of the overabundance of his human-like pastimes. That is why there are also certain blemishes in the character of Lord Ram. Why did he kill Vali while hiding behind a tree? Why did he lament like a a, a, a normal husband when Sita Devi disappeared? Why did he get angry at Ravan? Why did he ask Sita Devi to take the Agni Pariksha? So it is said that just like the moon has 16 phases, Lord Ram has 16 qualities. And some of the phases of the moon are the darker phases. So some of the aspects of Lord Ram's quality are also in that category. But he is Krishna. So nothing related to Krishna can ever be truly dark. And the acharyas explain also that even the so-called darker aspects of his personality are there for a purpose, which if we reach to that point of Ramayana, we'll discuss. But Narad Muni, he encouraged Valmiki by talking about this personality. And Valmiki became very, very excited, very enthusiastic. So tell me more, tell me more. So Narad Muni, he recited 4 verses, which are called Sankshep Ramayana. So just like we have the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, the 4 verses that contain the essence of the Gita. We have the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, the 4 verses that contain the essence of the Bhagavatam. So there is the Chatushloki Ramayana called Sankshep Ramayana. So hearing this, Valmiki became very, very absorbed in meditating on the qualities of Lord Ram. So Narad Muni, he departed, and in due course of time, Valmiki, he continued with his austerities and penances. Lord Brahma personally came to the ashram of Valmiki. And Valmiki, he greeted Lord Brahma, he offered him a seat and took a lower position. He glorified Lord Brahma. And then he asked Lord Brahma how can I serve? What can I do to help you in your service to the Lord? So Lord Brahma said that everything that's been happening to you is happening for a purpose. So the verse that you recited when you cursed the hunter will become the basis of the composition of a literature that you will write. So the verse is called Shlok. And the reason it's called Shlok is because the root word is Shok. So what does Shok mean? Shok means grief. So because it came from the grief of Valmiki at that time, from the Shok of Valmiki, it's called a Shlok. And the particular way that it is composed, the meter, is called a Anustup meter, which essentially is 32 syllables divided in 8 stanzas. So Lord Brahma instructed Valmiki that using this as the basis, you compose a literature that will glorify the personality on whom you have been meditating. And Lord Brahma, he benedicted Valmiki to have complete visibility into the pastime of Lord Ram. So just like Srila Vyasadeva, he had benedicted Sanjay, to be able to not only hear and see, but also understand everything that was happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So seeing and hearing is one thing, but understanding is a whole different thing. So Valmiki was given that benediction by Brahma. So with that benediction, with his Trikalagya vision, Valmiki, he composed Ramayana. So the Ramayana is considered to be an elaboration of the Gayatri mantra. So just like the Srimad Bhagavatam is an elaboration of the word Dhimahi in the Gayatri mantra, the Ramayana is also an elaboration on the 24 syllables in the Gayatri mantra. So the Gayatri mantra, which is Om Bhurvah Swaha, has 24 syllables. And for each of the syllable in the Ramayana, Valmiki composed 1000 verses. So the Ramayana in total has 24,000 verses. It's 50% longer than the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses and the Ramayana has 24,000 verses. So the Ramayana begins with the word tapa. Tapa means austerity. So that is the mood of the Ramayana, that it helps one become austere. Austere in the sense that it helps one become materially detached. How? By becoming attached to Lord Ram. Because of all the incarnations of Krishna, none is as sweet as Ram. None is as relatable as Ram. When Krishna came as Krishna Swayam Bhagwan, then he was also so his childhood pastimes were very attractive, which he did for his devotees. But later on, he became a politician. He was manipulating things. He was in the battle of Mahabharata. He himself was actively killing so many people. And there are many people who talk about Krishna one way or the other. But Lord Ram, he is spotless, and he is more sweet than concentrated sugarcane. So the 24,000 verses of Ramayana are divided into 6 khandas, and each khand, actually it's khand, 6 khands, and each khand has about 4,000 verses, not exactly, but about. There are a total of 600 sargas or 600 chapters in the Ramayana. So there are 24,000 shlokas, 6 khandas, and 600 chapters or 600 sargas. So according to some, the Ramayana has 7 khandas. The 7th one is Uttarkhand, which according to some is not part of Valmiki Ramayana, and according to some is. So Ramayana is not the only source of information of Lord Ram. In the Bhavishya Puran, there are almost 14,000 verses that talk about Lord Ram. And in the other Purans, like in the Bhagavatam, in the 9th canto, there is one chapter which is a summary of Lord Ram's pastime. But other Purans also, they contain some in brief, some in more details. They contain description of the pastimes of Lord Ram, and different devotees, different people with realizations, they have used that and compiled Ramayana. So like if you take Tulsi's Ramayana, which is called Ramacharitra, he has combined the Ramayana of Valmiki with the Ramayana that is found in the Bhavishya Puran. And he has made some changes also, which is why generally Vaishnavas, they prefer not to read Ramacharitra because it has tinges of impersonalism in them. But there are other devotees also who have come up with their own realizations, writing purports on Ramayana, especially from the south, which are very, very sweet. So in this way, Valmiki, he composed the Ramayana. And of course, Valmiki lived for a very, very long time, or lives for a long time. So he was also able to see the pastimes unfold when Lord Ram came and performed his Leelas. In fact, when Sita Devi was banished by Lord Ram, then she took shelter in the ashram of Valmiki. And when Lava and Kush were born, then Valmiki taught them Ramayana. So they became like traveling Sankirtan party. So they would go from towns and villages and they would recite Ramayana. And they would recite it so sweetly and so enchantingly that people were just, they were just transfixed. They would just sit and listen and listen. And then finally, it came to the notice of Lord Ram that there were two small boys and they were reciting this in a wonderful way. So then Lord Ram invited them to his court. And then Lava and Kush came and then they recited Ramayana. And Lord Ram was so taken in, even though the whole Ramayana is about him, but just hearing the pastimes and the realizations and the sweetness with which it was recited, that Lord Ram, he was completely besides himself with the ecstasy of Ramayana. So the point again is made that both the name and the pastimes are actually a lot more powerful than the personality. So Lord Ram, he himself is attracted to his pastimes. So when something can attract the personality of Godhead, so one can understand the potency of that. So that is why Ramayana is recited to create auspiciousness. Some people recite the Sundar Kand, some people recite the Bal Kand, and some people just recite sequentially. They'll recite a little bit of Ramayana and then they will start again and they will recite over and over again, because recitation of Ramayana, it cleanses the mind and creates a lot of auspiciousness. So this is the pastime of the appearance of Ramayana. So I'll stop over here and see if there is any discussion.
So, Prabhu, I have a question. Why did Valmiki write a shorter version of the Ramayana? It sounds like it's almost like Cliff Notes kind of synopsis of the Ramayana was written by Valmiki before he wrote the whole Ramayana. So, what do the Acharyas say about having written the Cliff Notes for Ramayana?
So, when Narad Muni came to talk to Valmiki, at that point he spoke the Sankshep Ramayana, which is the shorter version of Ramayana. Valmiki did not record that. That was for the benefit of Valmiki. So it's kind of like Narad Muni showing the, like, when you're watching a movie and you see the trailer of a movie and then you're saying, I have to see this movie. The trailer is made in a way that it captures the essence. So that's what Narad did. That in Sakshep Ramayana, he basically presented the essence, the most attractive aspect of Ramayana. So that when Brahma came later on and asked Valmiki to write Ramayana, Valmiki was all ready. That I am ready to write the Ramayana. And by meditating on the Sakshep Ramayana, he was also able to purify himself and qualify himself to write this exalted piece of literature. So that was the purpose of Narad Muni, presenting the Sakshep Ramayana to Valmiki.
Prabhu, I have a question. You said it's auspicious to read Ramayana. If we have to, choose between Bhagavatam and Ramayana, is that something one can do, or is it better to read both?
If you have the time, then yes, we should read both. In the sampradaya that we are in, the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave more importance to reading and understanding of the Bhagavatam. So since we follow our predecessor acharyas, we follow. Srila Prabhupada did not translate Ramayana; he translated Bhagavatam. Again, he was following his own disciplic succession. So that's why we do. And but if you have the time, then yes, Ramayana also has the potency of Krishna fully invested in it.
One more thing. One more comment. Actually, I will comment. I will make this comment later.
Okay.
It's about the sweetness of Rama. It just, you feel it's. Maybe I have not read Ramayana as much as I've read Bhagavatam, and I find it so, I think, the most sweetest to read, and it's very enjoyable and very, of course, knowledgeable. A lot of things I get from it. But there is always, of course, the aspect of when he sends Sita, how can that be sweet? That was but I don't know.
How could you have sent Sita Devi to the forest?
Yes, that doesn't seem somehow sweet.
So the sweetest thing that one can do to another is when one glorifies the other person at the risk of one's own reputation. So in this pastime of Lord Ram banishing Sita Devi, the reputation of Lord Ram is to some extent eclipsed. But the personality of Sita Devi is glorified. So it's the quality of the sweetness of the love of the Lord for his devotees, that he will take blemishes on himself in order to glorify his devotees. That is one understanding the acharyas gave. Second understanding is that the demonstration of the nature of pure love. So pure love is not predicated on reciprocation. If it is predicated on reciprocation, then it is not love, it becomes lust. That I do something for you, you do something for me. But pure love is ahituki, it is causeless. The last verse of Mahaprabhu's Shishtashtakam, it says, Aslishya va padratam pinashtu mam, Adarshanam mam hatam karotu va yata tatha va vidata lampatu mat pranatas tu seva napra. Where Mahaprabhu, in the mood of the gopis, is praying that whether you, O my Lord, whether you come before me and make me happy, or whether you reject me or make me broken-hearted, you are my Lord, life after life. So that is the mood of Sita Devi. So when Lord Ram banished Sita Devi, in the entire Ramayana, you will never see Sita Devi say anything bad about Lord Ram. She was completely dedicated to him always. Whether Lord Ram asked him to take Agni Pariksha, her to take Agni Pariksha, whether he asked her to go to the forest, but her love for Lord Ram was unconditional. So that's a glorification of Sita Devi. Third explanation is given from the Manushya pastimes, the human-like pastimes, that Lord Ram, in addition to being a husband, was a king. And the duty of a king is higher than the duty of the husband. So rather than create confusion in his kingdom that Sita Devi had been kidnapped by Rama, etc. So we know the pastime of the washerman, etc. So an ideal king acts in a way where he places the needs of the kingdom higher than his own personal needs. In Garg Samhita, it's mentioned that for the years that Sita Devi was banished, which were many years. In Ramayana, we don't get that sense, but Lord Ram actually ruled for 11,000 years. And he came back from his Vanvas in 14 years. He was 16 years when he left, and after 14 years he came back. So long time she was banished. So for the performance of yagyas, and because Lord Ram was a grahastha, it was important for Lord Ram to sit with his wife. Otherwise the yagyas could not be conducted. So Lord Ram would have a golden image of Sita Devi made, and she would sit next to him for the yagyas. So over time, there were thousands of these golden images of Sita Devi. And because they're connected to Lord Ram, they're sentient. So then the golden images said that you have to accept me as your wife. Because we have sat in the yagya along with you in front of the sacrificial fire while the Brahmanas were chanting mantras. So because we are in that position, we have to accept us as your wife. So Lord Ram said, I can't. I have taken the vrat of being ekapatni. And I cannot accept you, but what you say is also true. So when I come in Dwapar Yuga, all of you will be my wives. So all these golden images, they appeared as gopis in Vraj Leela. And there are more explanations also, but these are the primary understandings.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Akshay Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for a wonderful lecture. And I actually have a question, but I have been listening to you cover this topic for many times now. But like every time you get to listen to this, there's obviously the common storyline. But even within that storyline, there are like so many different facets and new facets. Like this time you covered the Sankshipt Ramayana. just adds to the sweetness of it. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So my question was about the Sankshipt Ramayana. You said it is almost like the Chatushloki. So in Bhagavad Gita, the Chatushloki really speaks about like the devotional service being the main thing for everyone, and how do devotees behave with each other, and what do they experience. So what does the Sankshipt Ramayana conclude with?
So the Sankshipt Ramayana is the summarization of the question that Valmiki asked Narad, that describe an ideal person to me. So the Sankshipt Ramayana, it describes the ideal person, the person with the 16 qualities that makes one an ideal human being. I don't offhand know what verses in the Ramayana. I know they are embedded within the Ramayana, but I don't know what are the verses that talk about it. But they talk about these 16 qualities of Dhairyavan, Viryavan, Satyavan, Charitravan, Krodhajit, etc. They talk about these 16 qualities and something more. But essentially the message they give is, what does an ideal person look like?
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So I guess Prabhu Ram, like with the purpose for his descent, he wants to inspire like each one of us to develop these qualities, or at least strive to be like that.
Right. So the purpose of Ramayana is the purpose of Ramayana is that we should become Lord Ram. That's the purpose of Ramayana. That's why he was human-like in many ways. So Krishna, he never said be like me, right? He said you become my followers, because he did a lot of things that only God can do. So he was always clear that I am God, your Jiva. The purpose of your life is to serve me. But Ramayana is a little different. Now, Lord Ram, he did not hide his divinity, but he did not advertise it also. So like Mahaprabhu, he completely hid his divinity. If somebody called him God, he would close his ears. He actively denied it. Lord Ram did not do that. So he was worshipped at places. He accepted that worship. Some of the things that he did, only God can do. But at the same time, he did not completely act in that way. His actions were that of an ideal king, an ideal husband, an ideal friend. So ideal in many ways. So the purpose of it is that we are inspired to become like Lord Ram.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, then in Ramayana, we don't see any pastimes where it describes that Lord Rama was chanting, or his brother was chanting, or Hanuman ji, who's supposed to be the perfect devotee, is chanting. Any idea why chanting is not focused on in Ramayana?
So there are pastimes in Ramayana that bring forth the potency of the holy name. So we see that during the Setu Bandhan, right? It's called when they build that bridge. So,
the bridge building.
right,
Writing Ramani on
right,
the rocks before throwing it in the ocean, right?
right. So they would put the rocks, but they would write the name Lord Ram, and that's why it would float. There is a pastime of Hanuman taking shelter of the Lord's name. This pastime does not appear in Ramayana. It appears in one of the Purans, where actually Narad Muni again comes, and it's an elaborate pastime. But the culmination of that pastime is that Lord Ram and Hanuman they go to battle with each other, and
Lord Ram and Hanuman.
Hanuman. So only Narad Muni can do it, right? So it's like I said, it's involved. He does this and that. He makes Lord Ram promise something, Lord Hanuman promise something, and it goes on here and there. But it ends with Hanuman and Ram entering the battlefield to fight with one another. And who wins? Hanuman wins. How does Hanuman win? Every time Lord Ram would throw a weapon at him, he would chant Lord Ram's name. And the weapon would fall down. And Lord Ram kept throwing weapons at him, Hanuman kept chanting his name, and Lord Ram got tired. He said, you have to, give me a break, do something, help me out over here. And then at that time, Narad Muni and Brahman, they all came and they said that, this was just enacted to show the pastime. In Ramayana also, it's not coming to my mind, but there are pastimes where we see the glorification of the name.
Sita Devi was chanting Lord Ram's name in Ashok Vatika.
Yeah, so Indulekha is saying that when Sita Devi was captured in Ashok Vatika by Ravan, then she was constantly chanting Lord Ram's name at that time.
I just have seen some people who like and follow the Ramayana. They, instead of chanting, they actually keep writing Hey Ram, and that's their form of meditation. Actually.
Yes, which is bona fide. Bona fide.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. Even in Chaitanya Leela, one of the ardent followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Murari Gupta, he had no attraction for Krishna. He was attracted to Lord Ram. And Mahaprabhu said that you're my follower, you give up Lord Ram, you follow Krishna from tomorrow. And he would chant Lord Ram's name, he would read Ramayana. He said, no, this program is all Krishna program. You read the Bhagavatam, you chant Krishna's name. So whole night Murari Gupta tried. And next day he came and he said that I can't do it. I'm willing to give up my life because following your instructions is my life. I can't follow your instruction, so I'm willing to give up my life, but other than that I can't do. And then Mahaprabhu said, don't worry. He said, so Murari Gupta is considered to be a partial expansion of Hanuman. And he said that chanting Lord Ram's name is as glorious as chanting Krishna's name.
Prabhu, another thing is, when we were young, we were always told to write Sri Ram, Jai Ram on the book, and those books were given to the temple. If they were going to, when they put the idol, establishing the idol, they would put this written names, the books itself, underneath, and then for the during temple construction.
Okay.
Even Shiva Vishnu temple here asked for everybody to write that during when they were doing some kind of construction.
I see. I didn't know that.
Because what should you do with all that writing? You don't want, it's an auspicious name, you don't want to. So I was always wondering, but when they asked, that was worthwhile.
So it was buried under the deities, then the writings?
I don't know the details, but it is during the construction of I think the Garbhagudi or the center shrine.
I see.
I don't know the full details. All I know, they did ask and that given, but that question has been in my mind. I need to ask some priest and see exactly how they use it.
Any other thoughts?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes, Rangadas.
Haribol Prabhu.
Yeah, we know that, when Sita, Lakshmi, Narayan, Lakshmi is always at the lotus feet of Narayan, and then there was, Shesha on top. Before the Ramayana started, Lakshmi was contemplating to come down to have some, special time with the Lord. But unfortunately, we saw that this did not work out as planned. There was a lot of, torment and separation. It was always like sadness, mostly, in the whole Ramayana. And then also we see in the person of Krishna the same thing. When Radha was here, always separation. Krishna just come and go. Krishna would play with them and trick them, always like that. Should we understand what is all this purpose and why so much sadness, why so much sorrow? Can you explain on that?
It's a good question. I have my thoughts. I guess I would like to hear thoughts from other devotees. It's a good discussion points. So why do you think the scriptures are more like tragedies than other forms of comedies or happy endings?
To invoke Karuna.
To invoke Karuna. That's a good realization. To get the sense of mercy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody else?
Love in separation is the highest ecstatic devotional mood, and Dasrat's pastime and Radharani, so many.
So superiority of Vipralamba Bhag, the love and separation.
That these facts, Prabhu, do appear in everyone's life. So, in spite of that, try to center your purpose around the Lord.
There is happiness, there is a little bit of happiness, there is a lot of unhappiness. But despite that, the devotees of the Lord, they stay focused on the Lord. So all good answers. The Lord also. So when Krishna comes, he accomplishes many things in his pastimes. He does it for the purpose of his devotees. He does it for himself also. He also accepts a lot of reactions. So like the separation of Radharani from Krishna. That was the result of a curse. Sri Dama had cursed them that you will be separated for 100 years, right? So in the spiritual world, there is no sorrow. There is only happiness. So when we go to a foreign place, we experience something unique over there. Right? You go to a place and that place has some unique dish, and you go and eat that dish. So what is the unique dish in the material world? It is dukhalayam. There is no dukh in the spiritual world. So Krishna comes and he says, what is this thing? What is this thing, sorrow? What does it mean to be unhappy? I have no idea about it. And then he turns and he asks his associate, and he says, we don't know. We have no idea what this thing, sorrow, what this thing, unhappiness is. He says, okay, let's go to the material world. There, you will get it in shovels there. So of course, Krishna can experience anything he wants, but part of it is he experienced something that he has never experienced in the spiritual world. Just like when Krishna comes and does his Raj Leela, there are no demons in the spiritual world, but in the material world there are demons. And Krishna enjoys fighting with them and killing them. When Jay Vijay were cursed, they accepted the curse because they, in the Bhagavatam, if you see when Jay Vijay are accepting the curse to become demons, they say that we know that you have this Virya Ras. Virya Ras is chivalry. But in spiritual world there is no enemies. You have no enemies. Who will you fight with? You can't beat up your devotees. And in the material world, there is nobody strong enough to fight with you. So, we take that service. We will come, we will become powerful demons, you come and we'll give you a good fight there. The other understandings is, as has been shared by you all, is it shows the potency of devotion. That whether there is material happiness or distress, the quality of devotion always triumphs. It shows the transcendence of devotion. That bhakti does not mean that everything goes your way. Bhakti means that regardless of how things are going, bhakti stays. Sometimes people have this notion that I'm worshipping God, so everything should happen. Why did something bad happen to me? I'm worshipping God. But when you look at the pastimes in Mahabharata and Ramayana and different Puranas, you see very, very exalted devotees of the Lord going through a lot of trials and tribulations. You see the Lord himself going through trials and tribulations. Because the nature of bhakti is that it is transcendental. Whether there is material opulence or material misery, bhakti will always flourish. Is that okay, Sayan Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. So next week we'll talk about the appearance pastime of Lord Ram. So I will not go like sequentially through Ramayana. Obviously we don't have the time, but I'll go through topically. So like next week we'll talk about the appearance of Lord Ram, and then the week after that we'll talk about the appearance of the second most important character in Ramayana. Who's the second most important character in Ramayana?
Motion detected at the driveway.
That's just Alexa. She keeps speaking here and there. So who's the second most important character in the Ramayana?
I thought Alexa just said Hanuman.
That'd be good. Actually, I've trained Alexa. So, like, if I say, Alexa, who is God? Alexa, who is God?
Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Parable.
Alexa, chant.
Hara Krishna, Hara Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hara Hara. Hara Rama, Hara Rama. Rama Rama, Hara Hara.
So she's becoming a devotee also.
Nice. Power of devotee association. Even machines chanting.
So after that, we'll talk about the appearance of Ravan.
So, Prabhu, will we have time to go through the Sankshepa Ramayana next week or no?
So next week we'll talk about Ram, then we'll talk about Ravan, then we will talk about we'll talk topically about the principal pastimes in Ramayana, beginning from so Lord Ram does not have much of a Bal Leela. If you look at Ramayana, Bal Leela part is very short. Ramayana almost after the appearance of Lord Ram, it almost jumps forward to 16-year-old Lord Ram, which is one Lord Ram's pastime manifest. He marries Sita Devi, gets her back, then all everything else follows. So after that we'll begin with Lord Ram in his youth, and we'll talk about that. So we can chant one round. Hare Krishna, Mohammed sir.
Guruji, one more question can I ask?
Yes, Prabhu.
Guruji, sometimes I heard that Sita Devi is elder to Lord Ram, and similarly I heard for Radharani also elder to Krishna, like that. But how bonafide such? Is there any truth there, Prabhu?
So I never heard about Sita Devi being elder to Lord Ram. What I have heard is that Sita Devi was a lot younger to Lord Ram. So Lord Ram was 16 years old when he married, and according to some acharyas, Sita Devi was 9 or 10 years old at that time. So different time, Treta Yuga, so it was probably okay at that time. But I haven't heard about Sita Devi or Srimati Radharani being elder to Krishna. Okay, we will chant now.